Welcome to Speak English with Tiffani, the CPS edition, Comprehension, Patterns, and Summary. I'm Teacher Tiffani. Let's jump right in. Today's topic is April Fool's Day. All right, comprehension. Now, to start off with comprehension, we must first look at the 5 W's. So again, remember the 5 W's are who, what, when, where, and why. But we are going to start with the who. Now, what you want to do is look at the article and first recognize the information. So we're going to look for the who within this article. So let's begin. April Fool's Day is an annual celebration in some European and Western countries that is celebrated on April 1st. Some people, so we have people right here, say it is based on a book by a French poet. Okay, we have French poet written in 1508, but no one knows for sure. Let's keep going. It is different from many other holidays because no gifts or special services are held. Instead, April 1st, people, we have people one more time, try to come with ways to play practical jokes one more time. Practical, that's the pronunciation, practical jokes on their friends. So we have friends right here. The jokes and their, so we have victims are then called April Fools, okay? Some people believe, well, we can highlight that because it's the title given to certain people. So April Fools. Some people, we see people again. Some people believe it is one of the best holidays because, again, we see people have a lot of fun tricking their friends. Next year, my coworkers. Now we see another group of people for the who. My coworkers are planning to play a big practical joke on our boss. They get him every year, so he has given up trying to stop them. I, on the other hand, usually always avoid my coworkers. Okay, we can stop here. So you see, we've highlighted all of the who. Now let's look at what. We're going to look over the article one more time and find out what it's talking about. Okay, so April Fool's Day. Well, that's the first thing. April Fool's Day is an annual celebration. Remember, annual means every year. In some European and Western countries, that is celebrated on April 1st. Some people say it is based on a book by a French poet written in 1508. So we have a book, that's something. But no one knows for sure. It's different from many other holidays. So we mentioned holidays because no gifts or special services are held. Instead, on April 1st, people try to come with ways, once again, come up with ways to play practical jokes on their friends. The jokes. So we have jokes as well as a piece of information that seems to be something that is repeated. We have jokes. And also, let's go back. Practical jokes also seems to be something that is information that we can hold for our comprehension. Okay, let's keep going. The jokes and their victims are then called April Fools. Some people believe it is one of the best holidays. So we have one of the best holidays because people have a lot of fun tricking their friends. And again, we have practical joke again. So this is, and at the end we have, but in all honesty, it is quite a fun holiday. Okay. Now we're going to go over when. So let's look at the article one more time and see what times are mentioned. Here we go. April Fool's Day is an annual celebration in some European and Western countries that is celebrated on, right there, April 1st. Some people say it is based on a book by a French poet written in 1508. So we have a year now. But no one knows for sure. Let's skim through. It is different from many other holidays. Instead, on April 1st, once again, April 1st is mentioned again. Let's look for another time period. The jokes are called April Fools. Some people believe it is one of the best holidays because people have a lot of fun tricking their friends. Okay, we see one more piece of information for when. Next year, my coworkers are planning to play a big practical joke on our boss. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to look at where. So we're going to see if we can find information that answers where. Okay, from the very beginning, April Fool's Day is an annual celebration in some European and Western countries. Okay, we got where, that is celebrated on April 1st. Some people say it is based on a book. Okay, do we see any other information for where? Let's move down. Next year, my coworkers are planning to play a practical joke or a big practical joke on our boss. Okay, so we have the information for where. And let's move on to why. So let's see the reasons that we can find inside of this article. Okay, so we have April Fool's Day is an annual celebration that is celebrated on April 1st. Some people say it is based on a book by a French poet, but no one knows for sure. It is different from many other holidays because no gifts or special services are held. Instead, on April 1st, people tried to come up with ways to play practical jokes on their friends. Now, we're going to get the reason. The jokes and their victims are then called April Fools. Some people believe it is one of the best holidays because people have a lot of fun tricking their friends. Okay, that's the reason why. Okay, now let's look at the patterns within this article. Let's begin with the first sentence. April Fool's Day is an annual celebration in some European and Western countries that is celebrated on April 1st. This sentence is kind of basic, so let's keep going to the second sentence. Some people say it is based on a book by a French poet written in 1508. Now, in this sentence, we have a very useful English pattern. Is based on. This English pattern is used when you want to talk about where something starts or where something came from. Okay, let's do this. Let's change this from start to started. So, where something started or where it came from. So, for example, this movie is based on a true story. Or in other words, this movie came from a true story. Another example, this book is based on my life. Okay, where it started or where it came from. Okay, let's keep going. The next sentence, but no one knows for sure. Okay, we see another pattern in this sentence. Knows, let's do that over again. Here we go. Knows for sure. Now, this means to be confident. To be confident in what you're saying, to have no doubt. So, for example, I can say, I know for sure that my husband is going to love this cake. Or I can say, I know for sure that it's not going to rain tomorrow. So, know for sure is used when you are confident about something. So, let's give one more example. They know for sure that class will be canceled. Okay? So, it's when you're confident about something. All right, let's move on to the next sentence. It is different from many other holidays because no gifts or special services are held. Now, at the very beginning of this sentence, we have, it is different from. Now, this pattern is used when you want to compare two things. So we'll write to have to go to the next line, to compare. So, for example, it is different from my old computer. Once again, my new computer is different from my old computer. So remember, this it can change. She is different from my mother. He is different from his brother. Whenever you want to compare someone or something, you can use blank is different from blank. Okay, let's move on. Instead, on April 1st, people tried to come up with ways to play practical jokes on their friends. Now, within this sentence, we see come up with. Okay, come up with means to think of or to have an idea. Okay, to think of or to have an idea. So, for example, we tried to come up with a solution to the problem. So, let's say, for example, we are at our office and the boss says, I need you guys to have this project done by tomorrow. So what happens? Myself and my team would come together. Why? So that we could come up with a solution. So to think of or to have an idea, okay? Come up with. All right, let's move on to the next one. The jokes and their victims are then called April Fools. That's pretty simple. Let's keep going. Some people believe it is one of the best holidays because people have a lot of fun tricking their friends. Now, this is a very important pattern. Here we go. Is one of the. Now, you use this pattern when you're trying to talk about one thing among many. Let me explain. For example, there are many books, but among these 10 books, one of them is my favorite. So, this book is one of the best books in my collection. So, one of the. So, one among many. So, I have many different things and I want to talk about one of them. Okay, so again, is one of the. So, we can also use it to talk about people. He is one of the most famous people in Korea. What does that mean? It means there are many famous people in Korea, but he is one of them. Okay, very good. Let's keep going. Next year, my coworkers are planning to play a big practical joke on our boss. Okay, in this one we see planning to. Now, planning to just means something you want to do in the future. Okay, so for example, I talked to my friend the other day and she really wants to get married. So, what did she say? My boyfriend and I are planning to get married. So, in the front, you will have a person. Behind or after planning to, you will have an action. So, right here, he is planning to go to America. He is the person planning to, and go to America is the action. All right, very good. Let's keep going. They get him every year, so he has given up trying to stop them. Okay, so the pattern we see right underneath planning to is given up. Now, given up means to stop. It means to stop trying or to stop doing. Let's write it right here. All right, so for example, I used to eat ice cream every day, but I don't now. I stopped doing that. So I can say, I gave up ice cream. Or, he has given up ice cream. It means he stopped eating it, or I stopped eating it. So given up or give up means to stop trying or to stop doing. Now, let's look at the last two sentences. Here we go. I, on the other hand, usually always avoid my coworkers on that day. Let's keep going. But in all honesty, it is quite a fun holiday. Now, there are two patterns that I want us to look at. Okay, so the first pattern in these two sentences is on the other hand. Now, on the other hand just refers to the opposite opinion or the opposite side of something. So, for example, I really enjoy taking walks. On the other hand, I don't enjoy when my feet hurt. Okay, opposite opinion. I like, but I don't like. Okay, when you have two opposite opinions. Okay, and the last pattern is in all honesty. Okay, we use in all honesty to emphasize that what we're about to say is true or our real feelings. For example, in all honesty, I love to eat at night. Or, in all honesty, I really enjoy spending time alone. Okay, I'm emphasizing the truth of that statement. Okay, so we have a lot of patterns from this one short article. Let's move on. Okay, for the summary portion, the first thing we must do is recap the comprehension section we did. Remember, for comprehension, we looked at 5 things. We looked at the who, the what, the when, the where, and also the why. So what you want to do for the summary is pick 1 or 2 from each of these categories, and you're going to make that a part of your summary. Remember, a summary is just a short snippet of the article you read. Okay, for the who, I'm going to choose a French poet. That's the part I want to focus on. And also April Fools. So the French poet and April Fools. For the what, I'm going to focus on April Fool's Day. For the when, I'm going to focus on 1508 and also April 1st. For the where, I'm going to focus on European and Western countries. And for the why, I'm going to focus on people have a lot of fun tricking their friends. Okay, so now let's start summarizing this using these pieces of information. Okay, let's write it right here a little bit above the text. Okay, now let's look at the summary. April Fool's Day is on April 1st, and some people say it comes from a book written by a French poet in 1508. It is celebrated in some Western and European countries because people have a lot of fun tricking their friends and calling them April Fools. And that's how you summarize an article.